When you think of an angel, what do you think of? Cute little beings with harps and halos, right? Well, what if I told you that every ancient culture has stories of massive winged giant beings who descended from the sky and they weren't always kind? Welcome to my series, Pretty Things with Strange Histories. And in this video, we're looking at the stories of angels. Stories told about angels and what they look like could be terrifying and powerful, and sometimes what people consider evil. Let's start with one of the first stories that were written about these creatures, and they were called the Nephilim. They appeared in ancient Hebrew texts. In essence, they were described as fallen watchers. These were the offspring of celestial beings who were sent to earth as messengers or soldiers, and then they took on human wives, and their children basically were born without the wings, but they had the size. They were described as having very good knowledge in warfare, but they could also be destructive themselves, and that they brought chaos and extreme violence to early humanity. But these massive celestial creatures did not just exist in the Middle East. In Persia, you had the simurgh, which was a benevolent bird. It had the wisdom of the ages, and it was often depicted carrying off heroes. Then in the Hindu tradition, there's also the Gandharvas, which were represented as kind, but they were also powerful and extremely protective. They too could also fly, but they were portrayed as messengers between gods and humans. So they hovered between the divine and the mortal. And far removed from the other cultures, there are those giants of the Mesoamericas. We find stories of the Mayan god Kukulkan. He is often depicted as a reptilian and as having wings, and that he is the one who brought wisdom and civilization. These were intelligent, powerful beings who were often seen as benevolent creatures. But across all these cultures, what is a common thread is that these beings are seen as incredibly powerful and capable of feats that are beyond human comprehension. And interestingly enough, they're often also seen across cultures as bringing more knowledge than human beings can handle. So, knowledge, whether for good or for bad. So, do you think these are just shared myths, or do they point to something truly ancient that visited our ancestors? Follow for more pretty things with strange histories.